Welcome to Waypoint Real Talk, where we discuss real estate and your home. Let's get started with your hosts, Aaron Shishilla and Austin Hines.
Welcome to Waypoint Real Talk. My name is Aaron, and Austin again is behind the scenes today, managing the audio and the video for you today to make sure we look nice and pretty.
It's important.
So, yeah, it is important. So, we have an awesome guest here today. Tell me about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm actually born and raised in St. Pete. I still work in St. Pete. My name is Ryan Thompson, Assistant Market President with Berkshire Hathaway.
Awesome. Assistant Market President. What does that mean?
So it's actually a new role, but basically the way our company is structured is we have our brokers of the offices are market presidents. Our broker is regional, so he gets pretty spread thin. So they added my position in to basically help him cover our regional area, which is Southern Pinellas County.
Gotcha. So how long have you been in real estate? What makes you so awesome as a real estate agent?
Oh man, so I've been in real estate about 3 years now.
Okay.
I think the thing that makes me the most awesome is I'm born and raised here, so I know this area more than most people do.
Right. And I think we're going to talk about some topics today that actually make you have this particular insight into social media and your leadership position.
Right.
So can you tell me how you got started in real estate and where you are now?
Oh, man. Okay, so how I got started. I've always been into real estate, always had an interest in it. I used to be a teacher.
Really?
Yeah.
What teaching?
Elementary school.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's a big change.
Yeah. So I was in teaching 6 years, decided it wasn't for me. So one summer that I had off, I went to real estate school. I ended up loving it. Started a brokerage a couple weeks later. And my plan was to use about a year to transition into real estate full time. I saw some quick success, and it actually only ended up taking about 6 months to
6 months
transition into real estate full time.
And when you say quick success, what was that success looking like? Like, I know like new agents probably only get like maybe one deal like their first year, 2 deals.
Yeah, so I had 12 deals my first year.
Oh my gosh.
But I had a couple of quick listings, a couple of quick buyers, and so I had enough momentum to kind of get started in it.
That's awesome, man.
Full speed, yeah.
Yeah. Why didn't you so what was the actual change in what you wanted to do from teaching? Like, what grade were you teaching?
5th grade.
Oof.
Yeah. That's a big thing.
Yeah. So then what do you love about real estate?
Oh, man. It's kind of an adrenaline rush sometimes. I love the negotiating. I love I don't really know how to put it, but it can be kind of cutthroat, but in like a fun way. I like the business behind it. I like, that kind of making a deal thing.
Right.
Whether you're making a deal or negotiating with your own client or with another agent. I kind of just like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. So you like arguing?
I've always heard that I'm good at it, so yeah.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you're a good real estate agent, so you must be good at arguing, right?
Yeah, obviously.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Okay. So back on topic here, we're going to be talking about social media.
Right.
And how you've used that to grow your business. Is that like your number one way you market your business?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I do other things too, but I would say that's kind of one of the more effective ways that I do market my business, yeah.
Okay. So tell me about how you manage your social media. Tell me about generically what you do with your social media to get the success from it.
So really my philosophy on it is I don't want to come off as some salesman. So I don't use social media necessarily to get direct business from or get leads from necessarily. I like to use social media as like a journal or a diary of my real estate business. I think that tends to come off more genuine. So I just like to share my experiences. I like to share what real estate is like to me. Mm-hmm. And that tends to market my business, It paints the picture of what I'm doing in real estate. And I think social media is just a really effective way to share that.
Great how you explain that, because a lot of people, I think, get mixed up with social media. They use it for, as you mentioned, the sales. And every post, it's like, I just did this deal, I just did that deal, and it's just sale, 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 or
Right.
selling. But if you're just social on social media and using it as it's intended, people realize what you're doing
Right.
and how successful you are.
Absolutely. And that's kind of just it too, is being social, and people can feel when all you want to do on social media is ask for business, or brag about your sales. Now I do that. I show the sales I make, but that's not what most of my posts are about. And I just, because I was interested in real estate and real estate agents before I got into it, I saw what I liked and didn't like as a non-real estate agent. So social media has kind of always come naturally to me because of that. I've seen what doesn't look great, and I've seen what has an impact on had an impact on me before I was actually in real estate.
So you mentioned to me earlier when we are coming on, and I think we're going to post this in the blog, you give like 5 social media rules of what you
Right.
have. And I think we covered the first one, which is staying genuine, be yourself, don't try to sell.
And with that, I don't really call these rules. I'm not some big social media guru or expert, but like I said, I've seen what can be effective and what's not. And so I kind of have some guiding principles, some do's and don'ts. And yeah, the first one I always like to start with, be yourself and stay yourself. You have a personality that comes out on social media, and most likely you had a personality before you got into real estate. So when I'm talking to agents who are just getting into real estate, I'm telling them, be that same person you were prior to being in real estate. Now bring that personality into you involved in real estate now. And too often you see that switch of this non-genuine person who has this full personality. They get their real estate license, and then now all you see on their social media is, hey, I'm a real estate agent. Call me if you are looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. Any of your friends looking to buy, sell, and invest
I
in
know
real estate?
everything about real
Yeah,
estate.
and it's like, okay, well, you've been in it a week, and so please share how I'm gonna trust you with a $250,000 home sale.
Right.
I always like to joke that the first thing new agents do is they get a new email account that is Ryan sells Tampa Bay at gmail.com.
I love that. Yep.
You see that Ryan sells
Their
Florida.
at handle
Yeah,
is.
yeah. And then the second thing they do is they post on social media, if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, call me. And so when I say be yourself, part of that is having a value proposition. That is the value you can propose to somebody on why they should hire you. And when you are being yourself, you need to convey your value proposition to people. Why are they going to hire you? Like, yeah, sometimes I do post, hey, if anybody you know is looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, let me know. But with that, I always show them my value. So, that usually comes after my value proposition, why you should hire me. And so with everybody, I think they need to have that value proposition. And when you're just getting started, experience is certainly not the value you bring to the table. So you do have to intentionally convey what value you do bring to the table.
Now, I wanted to go back on what you mentioned with personality. Show your personality on social media. And I think I even would have a hard time doing that. Like Instagram, I think, is the real, like, the vortex that you get sucked into of posting, the perfect picture, the one that's edited. And
The lighting has to be perfect.
the lighting, oh, look at my spouse, like, we're having so much fun, we're happy together, and behind the scenes, like, it may not be that like that. So how do you show the actual personality through these platforms? Like, would video help? Would be doing video?
Absolutely. And I think it all comes with what was your personality before real estate? Because you can tell that shift where people might just post random memes all day long, and then they get into real estate, and now it's real estate posts asking for your business every time. So I like sharing funny memes, because that was me before real estate. I like to share funny content. And now it's sometimes just funny real estate content. You know, real estate can be lighthearted too, and there's funny real estate memes out there. So, you know, if that's part of your personality, there's ways to incorporate humor into real estate. Videos are great. I'm not a big, huge video person, or at least with me in the video. You know, because that's another thing I like to push is don't show your face as much as you show your value. Your value is not your face. And, you know, people don't hire you for your looks or your face. I mean, some people might, but
Some people, I guess.
yeah.
Some people are very proud of themselves.
Yeah. And, you know, I always say, you know, be careful if you're hiring a realtor that shows their face more than their business or what they're good at. And so, but if that's part of your personality and you love being in front of the camera and that's where you can really shine and show who you are, absolutely. I think people should do it. And videos with you narrating or of you in it, that can absolutely help, you know, convey what your personality is like.
Right. So we have staying genuine, being the real estate resource, share things that add value to your audience and friends. How can we go about doing that?
Right. So this is one of the biggest things I like to preach is be the real estate resource. You know, when you're talking about adding value to people or people's lives, you know, many people are interested in real estate to some degree, whether it's just pretty houses or, you know, $1 million listing, you know, lots of people are into it. So I like making sure that people feel like my social media is also a resource for them to see new listings in the area, to see crazy sales in the area. But not only that, like educationally too, you know, many people know about median home prices or, you know, sold listings in their neighborhood because people like to window shop on Zillow. But not a lot of people know how the inspection process works. And, you know, you guys do a really good job of sharing educational stuff as far as the inspection side of things. And I think that's great. And I like to share your guys' content too.
That's awesome.
Because, you know, it's a huge part of the transaction. It can be a make it or break it part of the transaction. And so not everybody understands that. Not everybody understands the significance of a 4-point report. You know, it's amazing how many people I get into a transaction with and they've never even heard of it. And, you know, then there's title insurance and the title process in general. Not a lot of people understand how that works. The mortgage process, you know, behind the scenes with underwriting and all that, and how it ties in with appraisals and inspections and how inspections tie into insurance. And so I like making sure that at least the people who follow my social media will feel like they understand real estate more because of it. I think if I get business from social media, I want it to be because, you know, the people that follow me are more empowered because they know more about the process. And, you know, I think an educated buyer is the best buyer to work with. And an educated seller is the best seller to work with.
Right. So then you have that clear communication both ways.
Absolutely. And expectations, you know, when talking to a buyer, they need to know that it's a tough market for buyers right now. It is still a really good time to buy. And, you know, if I say that, I will never say that without proving why. And so I don't like to just make a post and say, hey, oh my gosh, you need to buy a house right now because it's a really good time to buy. Well, the interest rates are at the lowest point they have ever been since being recorded in 1971. And that year could be wrong now that I say that, but I'm 95% sure. Yeah. Since they've started recording interest rates, they're at the lowest point they've ever been. And so absolutely, that means it's a good time to buy. And I followed my own advice. About 30 days ago, I bought a house myself.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah. I should say I put a contract in and
Right.
I close in about a week now. But, you know, I'm preaching. It's a great time to buy. It's a great time to buy. And, you know, so much so that one day I was like, I'm going to kick myself for not buying. You know, in 2-3 years when interest rates are back up to 4 or 5%, something like that, I would really regret not buying something for a 3% or under interest rate. And right now the average interest rate is under 3%, which is
my goodness,
insane. You know, that's almost free money.
Right. And especially with, credit scores, you can imagine, because like as you have less of a credit score, what your interest rate's probably usual 4%, 5%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like over the last couple of years, yeah. If you haven't had a great interest rate or
credit score,
your interest rate would come in above 4%. And now with a not so favorable credit score, you can still get a rate for under 4%.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it really depends on what the credit score is, but
Right.
and the debt to income ratio. But yeah, so I think I've always liked to empower people when it comes to real estate, give them as much knowledge about it, because those end up being the best people to work with anyway. But even if they're not gonna, buy real estate through me or sell real estate through me, I think it doesn't hurt for people to be more educated about it, because real estate's one of those things that eventually 98% of people are gonna buy or sell a home. So why not, be more educated about the process? Because you're spending a lot of money, and you have to kind of protect your assets and your liabilities because of that.
Right. So going back, which I like how you mentioned being the resource, because that takes me back to a book I read called Utility, which talks about exactly that, educating rather than focusing on just marketing your business.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than saying I'm a real estate agent, I'm a real estate agent, or in our industry, we're home inspectors, that's why we're focusing on the podcasts, on the blogs, to be that resource.
Mm-hmm.
And being that resource on social media rather than making that selling point is a great aspect. All right, kicking back into it, we just had a short little break there. We're talking about conversing on social media. How do you actually engage with others? We know, be genuine, be the resource. Now we need to converse with others. How do you go about yourself with that?
Yeah, so I like to teach agents to be present on social media. I mean, especially me, I know that a lot of times if I'm on Facebook or Instagram, I just start scrolling through really fast, and I might read something that's funny or see something that I find interesting. I might laugh at it, and I notice sometimes I just keep scrolling. And so sometimes I have to be very intentional about, let me go back and show that person that I think that was funny. It sounds silly, but we want people to do that with our content. If you share a funny meme, you want people to leave a laugh emoji or a heart emoji or not, the little like icon. We want people to engage and show us that they appreciate our content. So we need to sometimes make an intentional effort to do that to theirs. And that's conversing too, commenting on something. Often I'll have a thought and I'll think of like, oh, I want to ask them this later. And then it's like, no, put that on their status or put that on what they're sharing, because that's why they're sharing it. They want you to engage in it. And so sometimes you have to make a very intentional effort to do that. And, especially being in real estate, you want people to engage in your content. I'm happy if they just read it, but I especially appreciate it if they like it, love it, share it, comment on it. So if I expect and want that from my friends, I need to do that to their content as well. So I do teach and emphasize making an intentional effort to do that.
Isn't it funny how when you get a like or even a comment that's like an engaging comment, how good it makes you feel?
It does, and especially if it's semi-business related, like you just feel that support. And it's funny. I see people. I have friends that will comment on like a Beyonce post, like from Beyonce, really expecting Beyonce to see it. But then like they won't comment on their best friend who's a real estate agent or their other friend who owns their own company.
Maybe you should look like Beyonce and sing like Beyonce.
I'm working on it. You saw my dance moves. I'm working on it.
I think you should go back to classes if you're trying to move like Beyonce.
Yeah, I have a few more classes to take.
Yeah. Okay. So conversing, using your brand, using it to brand yourself. So how would you go about branding yourself on social media without selling?
First of all, when I first got into real estate, the biggest hesitancy I had was thinking that real estate was a sales position. I've never wanted to be a salesman, but I knew a couple real estate agents who I liked the way they went about real estate because they weren't salespeople. So I figured, hey, I can use my personality in this. I don't have to be that super annoying, high pressure salesperson to be successful. So then once I got into real estate and started to really understand how real estate works, I realized, it is a sales position. However, you are not selling houses. you're selling yourself, and that's what your brand is. So I am a salesperson in the sense that I have to get people to buy into me and my brand. That
Are you
means
selling me right now?
totally. They have to understand what my value proposition is, and then they have to know, like, and trust me. And if I can sell myself to get people to know, like, and trust me, that means I just made a successful sale. So then I teach people that we are in a sales position, but you can't focus on selling houses, because you can't sell a house to somebody who can't afford it or who doesn't want it. So, instead you have to sell yourself. And so when I say brand yourself, it's not about, having your logo on Facebook or Instagram every other day. You can brand yourself without a logo. Yes, a logo helps. It helps add professionalism, a more organized feel to your business. But you can absolutely brand yourself without a logo. It's what you want to be known for, what you want to be associated with. So when I talk about branding on social media, it's more like, well, think about what you want to be known for in real estate. Do you want to be known for selling historic bungalows? Do you want to be known for selling brand new construction in the Brandon, Riverview area? And then gear your social media content towards that. So, I do love selling historic bungalows. I love brand new homes and I love seeing the brand new finishes, but all day long, I would prefer a 1926 bungalow.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. In a historic neighborhood with brick streets. I mean, that's my thing. That's not the only thing I try to be known for, because, that's not the only thing that interests me in real estate. But because of that, I like to focus a lot of my business on that. So, if that's what somebody's niche is, then share historic bungalows in the area that you find fascinating. Share. And another big thing about historic bungalows is, buyers have to be prepared mentally to go into a transaction on a historic home that's 100 years old. Especially when it comes to inspections. If they're not prepared for an inspection report on a 100-year-old home, they are going to cry when they open that email.
Oh my gosh.
Even if it's been well taken care of. It's a 100-year-old home. Doors don't shut perfectly. You feel some wobbly wood and floors on a 100-year-old home that's on crawl space.
Like a little crooked.
Right? So, you have to have a strong stomach, and you have to be prepared for a home like that. And so, when you're branding yourself towards something like that, you can share helpful inspection tips or helpful information about that kind of home that, again, when people see your social media and think about you, they're going to kind of picture in their head, oh yeah, Ryan Thompson, he does the historic homes, he does historic neighborhoods. So, if that's the way you want to brand yourself, then you have to make sure that your social media portrays that. And I think social media is one of the easiest ways to brand yourself, because you have a captive audience there. They're scrolling, they're going to see your things most likely. So use it to your advantage, and, make your content about the things you want people to know you do.
It's so crazy how much influence social media can make if someone's been watching your content. Because I'll watch it for real estate agents because we're pretty active on Instagram. And you automatically, and I'm guilty of it, everyone's guilty of it, of making assumptions of a person based on their social media.
Mm-hmm.
So I think taking a second look at your social media, what you're posting, could definitely be helpful to say, is this the person that I want to brand myself as?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the way you explain it in that way, I feel is very beneficial for someone to understand. Because now I want to look at Waypoint's Instagram and what are you doing over there? I wish we had a camera on you.
I know, that was pretty funny. The new normal.
The new normal. You just put the mask up here
Drinking
to drink
through
water.
a mask, yeah.
All right. Awesome. Okay, so I want to get talking into your leadership as well, but I think that I want to leave this one on social media. So I want to do another one about your leadership and how that has affected you on real estate. I think we have like a lot of stuff. We have one more actually, being consistent on social media, which is your final like not your rule, but your tips for social
The
media.
final do.
The final do.
Yeah.
What do you mean by how consistent should I be?
Very consistent. I mean, and when I say consistency, it's consistency with your branding, your messaging, your content. You know, if you are trying to brand yourself as in a certain farm area, geographical location, you want to be known as the real estate agent that does work on the beach. You have to be consistent with that. You have to paint that picture consistently. If you've only ever posted one beachfront property or one post associated with the beach, there's no way you're going to be known for that. And you do have to be very intentional about it. And especially to have effective social media, your posts need to be consistent. You know, they say for somebody to think of you first as the go-to real estate agent, you know, they need to be exposed to you and your name at least 7 times. And so you have to be very intentional about what you're posting, the frequency of your postings. It doesn't necessarily have to be every day, but it does have to be consistent, and it has to be fairly regularly. So I would always say, you know, you want to have a minimum of 3 to 5 posts
Or a week.
Excuse me, for it to be effective. And, you know, you want people to remember you're a real estate agent. You want them to remember your brand, whatever that is. And for them to remember that and think of that first, it's important to be consistent, because we all know that everybody knows 4 or 5 realtors at least. You know, the joke is out in Pinellas County, you can reach out your arms and you'll touch a couple of real estate agents. There's 10,000 in Pinellas County.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
Around 10,000, not on the dot, but right around 10,000. And so, you know, it does take a lot for the ultimate goal is when somebody thinks about real estate, you want them to think of you first. How do you accomplish that? Consistent branding and messaging in front of them all the time.
Yeah. So in social media, I forgot the question I was just about to ask. Dang it. Give me 1 second.
You got it.
Yeah. Oh, interacting with others. How often are you on the platform interacting with others?
Me, myself?
Yeah.
I try to interact all the time. Again, sometimes I'm just taking a break from a stressful situation, so I pull out Facebook and I just start scrolling fast and I forget to engage. But, you know, I try to engage in people's posts every day. I like to converse and comment, love, show my support for what they're doing, what they're putting on there. If it's a personal post or a friend's business post, I try to engage every single day.
What platforms are you on?
Mostly Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah. And you're doing the same on both?
Yeah. Making an intentional effort to like or comment on other people's content. Yeah.
And how often are you searching for other people to follow, or if at all? I mean, how do you know when to follow somebody, or who's your target?
That's a great question too. And that's something that comes up in our trainings as well. And, you know, I think it's always beneficial to be friends, you know, or follow as many fellow real estate agents as possible, because you can get access to off-market listings, coming soon listings. You know, if you're sharing listings, that's all the more exposure to your listings that you can get through having other real estate agents on your social media. And same thing with having friends that are appraisers or inspectors or mortgage professionals. You know, especially if they have good content, you want to see their content as well. You might see them share something that is valuable to you and your database or your friends. So you can find a lot of interesting content that way too. So I don't always do a great job of making an intentional effort to go follow agents or other people, but when they pop up, I definitely will try to, if they're a real estate agent in the area and we have a good amount of mutual friends. If they're an industry professional, you know, I try to look them up, or if it's a business I like to work with, I follow them. You know, I followed Waypoint right away as soon as I had a good experience with Waypoint, you know, things like that.
That's awesome. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up what we have today. I appreciate you coming on, Ryan. It's really wonderful insight, especially with the branding, the personality, and showing your personality on social media. So
Thank you. It's been
wonderful
great to be
to
here.
have you, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.